Have you heard the latest truth seeker? An ex-military man on his way to Bible study decided to crash his car into a crowd of people because he thought they were Muslim. But then when he found out they weren't, he prayed for their health. What a story. Like I said, 2019 would be a bad year for Islam, especially in the headlines. That's because it's the year 19 and the Quran code is all about the number 19. The same code that was discovered in 1968, the year the plan went into motion for 9/11, which was blamed on 19 Muslim hijackers. If you don't know, in 1968, World Trade Center construction began. 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. 2001, A Space Odyssey came out. And George W. Bush, the dumbest fucking president there ever was until Donald Trump, graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. Anyhow, look at what we have here. Sunnyvale, huh? This one went down in Sunnyvale. What a nice place. Sunnyvale. What does that remind me about with regards to the Son of God? Anyway, Sunnyvale has Gematria 47, like Christian. And how many degrees on the Masonic compass? Of course, 47. They just can't get enough. Notice the killer was 34 years old. Murder, 34. This happened April 23rd, the 113th day of the year. And what do we know about 113? Out of those Abrahamic religions, there's two that are really being pitted against each other for the agenda of one Jewish nation. Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. Of course, they're all based out of Judaism in the Old Testament. And in the Jewish not-so-nice text, the Talmud, it's stated in Baba Kama 113a that Jews may use lies to circumvent Gentiles, which would include Christians and Muslims and everybody else who isn't Jewish. So 113, the number of deception, the number we see again and again and again and again. So this story right from the 113th day of the year. And I noticed the man. This is the man who supposedly crashed the car in the crowd. I can't decide if he's an AI creation or an MK Ultra project. Former military. He could be the latter. But the Gematria 177 and 93 from his name. Of course, 93 is a big Christian number, as we've talked about many times before. God's Son 93, Nazareth 93, Crucifix 93, Jesus supposedly crucified between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. The Son of God, they tell us the Sun is 93 million miles away. Sunnyvale? Anyway, the guy's name 177 and 93, just like propaganda, which I really have no doubt that this story is. Is it completely contrived? Maybe. Is it contrived propaganda through an MK Ultra subject? Possibly. But just understand, it's contrived, it's for agenda, and it's more information, you might as well just tune out. A lot of people also asking about this deadly semi-accident outside of Denver, which makes no sense. Semi going 90 miles per hour and not hitting the brakes and plowing through cars. What stands out about this story is it happened yesterday, April 25th, 2019, which was a date with 68 numerology. Denver equals 68. And if you're familiar with my work, if you've read my book, you know 68 is a number of death. Caskets go 6 feet deep or 8 feet long. So you get this deadly story outside of Denver on a fitting date. There's probably a whole lot more to it, but I've been lazy. Well, not really. I've just been working too much. That's more like it. I just got lazy on that story. Here was another one from April 25th that gave me a chuckle. Measles quarantine at UCLA and Cal State LA. Well, I wonder where they came up with this story on April 25th, 19. This was a date with 48 and 68 numerology. Quarantine 48. Measles quarantine 68. And one of the two schools, Cal State LA, also that Gematria of 68. So you see they're touching all corners. This started in the Pacific Northwest, then it went to the Northeast, now it's down in LA. How long until we hear about Florida? Maybe we have already and I missed it. But looks like they're going all corners. And this also gave me a chuckle yesterday. On April 25th, the 115th day of the year, You have these two headlines up. Former Florida officer sentenced to 25 years in shooting death of stranded motorist. And student accepted into 115 colleges. Again, April 25th, the 115th day of the year. And the story is a officer shooting a unarmed black man. So it has to do with death and racism. Death 25, racist 25, 25 years. The name of the man killed, Gematria of 63, like racism, number we talk about all the time with racism. Or maybe that was the name of the officer, excuse me. That was the name of the officer. The officer has the 63 name Gematria, and the victim, his surname, has the Gematria 63 as well. There's also a whole bunch more in those numbers, but it's the 63s that really matter. It's all about programming these racist killings with police and the fact that seemingly there's nothing that can be done about it. You know, about 1 out of 20 gets sentenced to prison, the rest acquitted. Also, here was another good one. Here's the girl who got accepted into 115 colleges. And her name was Antoinette Love. Notice the 177 Gematria, Antoinette 147. She got all these scholarships, 177, 147. Antoinette, also 57, like scholarships. You see how they did that? And I suppose this is to encourage parents to apply to more colleges because, as you may or may not know, it's quite expensive to apply to colleges. So this is a way to get parents to send out even more money to see if their children can be accepted so that they can get a piece of paper that they'll probably never even use, and they probably just would have been a lot better off getting a job right out of high school, developing a skill, a work ethic, rather than get in debt and find themselves with an education that nobody wants to hire them for because they don't have any life experience. So, anyhow, we'll leave it there. Until next time, Truth Seeker.